Can you use the Box MCP server within a larger agentic workflow? Today, using Pydantic AI, we're going to do just that. I'm Alex Novotny, Senior Developer Advocate here at Box. Let's get started. If you aren't familiar with Pydantic, make sure to check out their website, ai.pydantic.dev. There's a ton of information and features and functionality that I'm not going to go over today, but they have a ton of cool stuff going on, so make sure to check them out. Using the Pydantic libraries, it is super simple to create an agentic workflow and very few lines of code. Here, the first thing we're doing is setting up an MCP server connection. It points to the local configuration that I have set up before. Then I'm giving it a model. In this case, I'm using OpenAI's 4.1 Mini. Then I make an agent. The agent takes in the model as well as a system prompt, which in this case is saying, hey, you're a Box agent. Your job is to answer questions and complete actions with Box using the tools available. And I also give it access to the MCP server that I configured up above. Once those pieces are configured, the only thing you have to do is send in a prompt. The first thing I want to do is ask, who am I logged in with in Box? Now, because I've configured the MCP server and made calls against it before, it should just return developer relations. And as we can see, it does in fact say I'm logged in as developer relations in Box, which is correct. Let's try something a little bit harder. I'm now going to say, hey, go in Box, and I want you to find invoice 1172. The interesting part about this is I'm not giving it a file ID. And in fact, the file that I'm asking it to find is not actually even the correct name. I'm just saying invoice and 11072. It's going to use a tool within the MCP server to search across Box to find the appropriate file. And then it's going to use Box AI to extract the invoice total. Let's send this off and see if it provides the correct information. Wow. So looking at the response, it's saying that we've got a total on this invoice of 5218. It also actually tells me there are 3 matching files across my Box instance. Let's go check Box and make sure that this total is correct. Looking down, I can confirm that the total is 5218. This is really, really cool, guys. We have an MCP server that's doing all of the processing. It has abstracted all of the manual coding and configuration that I would normally have to do to call the Box API. It's doing all of that for us. And all we have to do now is write a simple prompt that says, hey, grab the total, find something in Box, and return it back to me. For the next example, let's try something even harder. In Box, we have a native document generation tool called Box DocGen. I wanted to upload a file from my local machine. In this case, this file is going to be an NDA template. Again, I want it to find a specific folder in Box. I'm not going to give it the folder ID. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to say, hey, there's a folder called MCP server. Find out that ID and upload this file to that specific folder. Then I want it to generate a new document based on this template using data that I also have on my local machine. And in this case, it's a JSON file. If we look in that JSON, it just has different information that you would input into an NDA file. A customer name, address, customer ID, and you can imagine this being a lot larger of an object, but for this simple demo, I'm going to keep the JSON object relatively small. So let's run this and see if it can accomplish all of these things. Wow, this is awesome. It uploaded the file to the appropriate folder, marked it as a DocGen template, the tags are processed, and then starts a document generation job. And let's check Box. Let's see if this worked. We're going to go over to this folder. We're going to refresh the page. Wow. Okay, so here's the file that it uploaded. Here is the file that it created. And look at that. Holy cow. So it took a prompt that I asked it to generate a file with, and it actually generated a file with JSON data. And as a developer, this is going to supercharge, super speed my coding. I didn't have to go look up anything in Box documentation, right? All I had to do was, let's just look at this one more time. All I had to do was write, what is this, 6, 7 lines of code, and it worked. So yes, you can definitely use the Box MCP server within a larger agentic workflow, and you can do it in very few lines of code very quickly, abstracting all of that configuration and work that you would normally have to do in order to use an API.